You guys were the ones out there generating negative press against Justin. You guys were the ones who were trying to ruin Justin at the Reynolds penthouse in Manhattan, where Ryan Reynolds allegedly bullied Justin so badly that a Sony representative, and her biggest takeaway was
the kind of lawsuit that is full of evidence, documents, which prove exactly what she did to take over the movie and used her PR people to try and destroy Justin. And we're carefully considering other people that will be sued also. Ryan Reynolds, for sure.
On Blake Lively's claims that she was allegedly harassed by this guy when they shot the movie, It Ends With Us, a film about domestic violence. And was Justin didn't harass Blake. Blake was interested in wresting control of this movie away from Justin, who was the director and the producer. She was just an actress in it. And to the point where this guy was in the basement at his own movie's premiere. And that what in fact happened was, and now you see text messages from Blake Lively comparing herself. She's the mother of dragons in Game of Thrones, that she too has her dragons, Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift.
I think you guys are going to find this one pretty interesting. So we're going to be heading straight into the Hollywood Hills for this one. We've got a real-life drama unfolding. A lawsuit, accusations of manipulation, and a possible smear campaign. So we've got Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, Justin Baldoni from Jane the Virgin, and they are locked in a legal battle over the upcoming film, It Ends With Us. And if that wasn't enough to get your attention, well, we've got leaked footage, we've got private messages, and whispers of, attempts to control the narrative. This has become a full-blown Hollywood whodunit. So buckle up, because things are about to get interesting. Let's start with the basics. Justin Baldoni filed a lawsuit against Blake Lively, and he's alleging that she essentially hijacked their film project. He's claiming that Lively sidelined his original creative vision, and that she steered the film in a completely different direction. Now, I know creative differences happen all the time in Hollywood, right? But this is where things take a turn. Leaked footage has emerged, and it seems to contradict Lively's claims of minimal involvement from, wait for it, Taylor Swift. Yeah, the Taylor Swift global superstar, songwriting genius, and apparently a major player in this whole Hollywood drama. So in this footage, Lively is actually singing Swift's praises, talking about how deeply involved Swift was in the project. She even says that Swift lived and breathed the film with her. Now this directly clashes with, the whole narrative that Swift was just a casual consultant, which is what Lively's team has been suggesting. And it really makes you wonder, what is the real story here? Was Swift's involvement intentionally downplayed? And if so, why? And hold on tight, because we're just getting started. Lively has this habit of referring to Taylor Swift and her husband, Ryan Reynolds, as her dragons. Get this, dragons. Yeah, I know, right? It's kind of cool nicknames. Got that sense of power and protection. But it also raises some questions like, what does it really mean to be a dragon in Blake Lively's world? Are Swift and Reynolds aware of these, alleged manipulative tactics? Are they actively participating? I don't know. These cryptic text messages definitely add fuel to the fire. Speaking of Ryan Reynolds, let's talk about that suspiciously timed charitable donation he made. The very same day that Lively filed her lawsuit, Reynolds made a sizable donation to a very high-profile charity. Now, call me cynical, but that does seem like maybe a well-calculated PR move, to kind of soften the blow and portray them as the benevolent power couple in the middle of all this drama. It makes you wonder, was this a genuine act of philanthropy, or was it a strategic attempt to sway public opinion? I mean, after all, perception is everything in Hollywood, right? But wait, there's more. The lawsuit also unveils some pretty eyebrow-raising text messages between Reynolds and Baldoni, and in these messages, Reynolds is demanding production day changes to accommodate his own schedule. He makes some rather, inappropriate comments, and generally he comes across as this, not quite the charming, witty guy we see on social media. These messages kind of painted a different picture of Reynolds, one that hints at maybe a controlling side and, dare I say, a somewhat unprofessional side. Okay, so remember that former PR representative for Baldoni and Wayfair Studios, the one who left Jones Works, the firm representing Lively? Well, according to the lawsuit, she was subjected to a pretty dramatic interrogation. I mean, we're talking security guards, lawyers, accusations of stealing information. This all went down just days before she was set to leave Jones Works. So we don't have all the details yet, but this incident definitely raises questions about, potential retaliation, maybe attempts to intimidate anyone who dared to kind of step away from Lively's camp. But you know what? Might be the most disturbing accusation against Lively and Reynolds. It's that they pressured Baldoni to release a false statement, taking the blame for all the production issues, with the motive to protect Lively's reputation, of course. And you know what? To add insult to injury, the lawsuit actually includes the drafted statement that Baldoni refused to publish. It's a chilling reminder of how far some people will go to control the narrative, to protect their image, even if it means sacrificing someone else's career and reputation. And it doesn't stop there. The lawsuit also alleges that Sony, the studio financing the film, threatened a full-blown cast boycott if Baldoni, his production partner, or anyone from Wayfair Studios attended the premiere. So imagine the pressure Baldoni must have been under. It's a stark reminder of, the power dynamics at play in Hollywood and how quickly those in control can wield their influence to silence dissent. Remember those dragons Lively mentioned? Well, Reynolds allegedly attempted to use his connections to have Baldoni drop from, the very prestigious William Morris Endeavor Agency. Now, how did he supposedly try to pull that off? Well, it seems the former PR rep's husband happens to be a senior executive at WME. Coincidence? I'll let you decide. But the lawsuit suggests that Reynolds might have attempted to leverage this connection to, sabotage Bolden's career. It's a reminder that, in Hollywood, who you know can be just as important as what you know, and sometimes those connections can be used for less than noble purposes. And then there's the Scarlett Johansson connection. Now, this is where we enter the realm of speculation. But it's a theory that's been, kind of making the rounds online. Some have suggested that Reynolds might harbor some resentment towards Johansson, his ex-wife, and if a considerably more successful actress. They're speculating that this resentment might somehow be fueling his involvement in this whole, messy situation. Now, it's a bit of a reach, I'll admit that, but it's a reminder that personal histories and hidden resentments can sometimes play a role in even the most public of dramas. You know what makes this whole case even more fascinating? It seems like early on someone had a hunch that Lively and Reynolds' actions might, become a problem. So they advised everyone involved to, meticulously document every interaction. I mean, everything: audio recordings, text messages, emails, the whole 9 yards. Talk about a premonition, right? So this foresight has resulted in this treasure trove of evidence that could honestly blow this whole case wide open. And this is where the PR battle gets really interesting. So we've got Wayfair Studios, Baldoni's production company. They're initially represented by Jones Works, a big name in Hollywood PR. But then things get messy. A partner, Jones Works' Jennifer Aval, decides to leave. And guess what? Baldoni and Wayfair decide to go with her, so they effectively ditch Jones Works. Now imagine you're Stephanie Jones, the head of Jones Works. You've just been dumped by a client, and not just any client, but one who's now entangled in this high-profile lawsuit. I mean, in Hollywood, where reputation is everything. This is the major blow. So what does Stephanie Jones do? Well, just 2 days before Baldoni is set to leave, Jones calls her in for a surprise meeting. This meeting, it sounds like something straight out of a movie. Baldoni walks in, and there's a security guard, a lawyer, and an IT specialist all waiting for her. They accuse her of stealing confidential information, they demand access to her personal devices, and basically, they try to, intimidate her into submission. And here's where the plot thickens even further. Remember how I mentioned that in a WME, the agency that Reynolds allegedly tried to get Baldoni dropped from, they have a connection to all this. It turns out Stephanie Jones, the head of Jones Works, is married to a senior partner at WME. Coincidence? I'll let you decide, but this connection certainly adds another layer of intrigue to this whole PR battle. So somehow, amidst all this chaos, Lively and Reynolds end up with text messages between Baldoni, Abel, and another PR pro that Baldoni hired after he left Jonesworks. So they try to use these messages to portray Baldoni as the villain, claiming that, he's manipulative and vengeful, plotting against Lively. But here's the thing. Context is key. These messages were taken out of context. The full conversation actually shows that Baldoni and his team were simply laughing about the fact that they didn't even need to do much PR work because, well, the public just wasn't buying Lively's narrative. It seems Lively and Reynolds underestimated the power of the internet. Remember those internet suits I mentioned earlier? Well, they quickly figured out that Lively and Reynolds' initial legal action wasn't actually a full-blown lawsuit. It was a civil rights complaint. So, I start digging deeper, uncovering inconsistencies in the narratives being spun by both sides. They even called out the New York Times for publishing an article that was seemingly favorable to Lively. They were accusing the newspaper of working with her PR team, and their evidence, metadata analysis, suggesting that the Times may have had early access to the lawsuit documents and those, out-of-context text messages. So what do we have so far? It's like a tangled web of accusations, PR maneuvering, and conflicting narratives. It seems like everyone involved is trying to control the story, protect their image, and maybe even throw each other under the bus in the process. And poor Justin Baldoni, he just wanted to make a movie. But here's where things get, really interesting. Remember all those recordings everyone was advised to make? Well, those recordings are about to become a game changer. New Jersey, where the film was shot, is a one-party consent state. What does that mean? It means that only one person involved in a conversation needs to know that it is being recorded. So, imagine this. We could be hearing conversations with studio executives, private phone calls, maybe even heated arguments between, the main players. This is the kind of raw, unfiltered evidence that could completely shift public opinion and expose what truly happened behind the scenes. Now you might be thinking, hold on, isn't releasing private conversations like a violation of privacy? You'd be right to question that. It's a complex issue, especially when it comes to public figures. But when those private conversations involve allegations of wrongdoing and, abuse of power, the line between privacy and public interest gets a little blurred. The release of these recordings could have a seismic impact on everyone involved. Mean reputations could be destroyed, careers could be shattered, and new legal battles could ignite. It's like a ticking time bomb, and everyone in Hollywood is holding their breath, waiting to see who gets caught in the blast radius. This situation also, shines a light on the immense power of PR in today's world. Celebrities and their teams, they go to extraordinary lengths to control the narrative, to protect their image, and shape public perception. But as this case demonstrates, the truth has a way of surfacing, especially when you have an army of internet suits determined to dig deeper and uncover the facts. It's a classic David and Goliath story. You've got Justin Baldoni, the accidental hero, fighting against these powerful Hollywood forces to reclaim his creative vision and expose the truth. And with those recordings as his secret weapon, he might just have the ammunition he needs to win this battle. No, the legal proceedings are ongoing, and the release of those recordings is still, uncertain. But one thing is for sure, this case is far from over. It's a saga that has captivated the public's attention. It's exposed the dark underbelly of Hollywood, and it's reminded us that even the most powerful figures can't always control the narrative. And who knows what other secrets and scandals might be lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to be exposed. This whole case, it's more than just like a Hollywood squabble. It really raises some thought-provoking questions about the entertainment industry, fame, the power of public image. It reminds us that, the glitz and the glamour we see on screen often hides much more complex reality. And we're just so used to seeing these celebrities as, these larger-than-life figures. Yeah, carefully curated, presented to us through this highly polished lens. But, this case peels back those layers. It shows us that behind those perfectly crafted personas, they're real people with flaws, insecurities, and in some cases, a willingness to, manipulate and exploit others to protect their interests. It makes you think about the stories we consume, the narratives that we believe in, the power dynamics that shape those narratives. Yeah, like who are the real storytellers in Hollywood and whose voices are often silenced or marginalized? This case has sparked a conversation about, accountability, transparency, and the need for, greater scrutiny of the systems that perpetuate these imbalances. And what about the role of the internet and social media and all this? I mean, we've seen how online communities can rally around a cause, right? They can dissect information, they can even challenge these powerful institutions. The internet has given a voice to those who might otherwise have been silenced. It's created a space for, alternative narratives to emerge, to gain traction, Remember those mommy bloggers that I mentioned? They played a pretty significant role in uncovering inconsistencies and, challenging the mainstream media narrative and amplifying Baldoni's side of the story. It's a reminder that the internet has leveled the playing field in a lot of ways, empowering individuals to hold those in power accountable. This whole case, it's a reminder that we all have a responsibility to be critical consumers of information, to question the narratives that were presented to us, and to seek out multiple perspectives. It's a call to be more aware of the power dynamics at play, not just in Hollywood, but in all aspects of our lives. So, as this legal battle continues to unfold, I'll definitely be following it closely and keep you updated on any new developments. But I want to leave you with this question to ponder. What does this case tell us about the stories we choose to believe, the power of narrative, and the responsibility we all have to seek truth and challenge injustice? Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious, keep asking questions, and never underestimate the power of a good story.